Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording Wednesday, June 18th. Draft week away now, officially. Free agency about 2 weeks away. Off season is going to start to ramp up here soon. We've already seen one major trade with the Desmond Bain deal. Feels like more are going to happen quickly. We've heard from Shams and Windy that the off season is going to happen a lot quicker this season. So on our toes now, I bring my backpack with my microphone with me everywhere just in case. And we're ready to go today. How you doing, Sam?
I'm doing pretty good. I didn't know that. I didn't know you were just bringing the microphone around in
I
case of
went so
emergency.
I went to lunch with my dad yesterday. He works in the seaport, and I stopped at some place, and I was there for I left my house at maybe 10:30. I got back at 12:30, and I lugged my backpack with my laptop and my microphone around with me on the off chance that something happened in that time frame. I'm constantly checking my phone. My phone was across the room yesterday, and I told Michaela, I'm like, Michaela, can you just flip over that phone real quick? I'm paranoid at any time something's gonna happen. So I stay ready. I stay ready.
We're ready for a great show. That's for damn sure. You, we're going to talk about any kind of potential movement by the Celtics in the draft because we have done a ton of draft coverage, tons of draft previews. They're all on the channel. If you're curious about a certain prospect, we've looked at a lot of them that are in the Celtics range. But if the Celtics do decide that they would like to get a little bit creative and trade up, we can talk about it. We're going to go through your emails too. Then we'll go around the NBA, talk about the NBA Finals, Haliburton having quite the injury, talk about KD. We'll do some more draft stuff, and then we'll do the rat list, and we'll get up out of here. So stick around through all of it. It's going to be a fun show. You can find us here on the channel every single day doing new content. 5 a.m. drops. Full pods come out Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. Game recaps during the season are up the morning after each game, and other videos like the draft previews are up in between to keep you up to date with all things Celtics. But yes, here we are. Should be a fun show today.
Indeed. I know something. So I'm not around Saturday. I'm going to a graduation party thing for most of the day. And so I know something's going to happen Saturday. So keep an eye out. If you're looking for a Celtics trade, just know it's going to happen Saturday when I'm unavailable, or I will have to do it on my phone and edit on my phone and everything. But anyways, let's talk about the draft. So the Celtics are actually at a really weird time in the draft. It's looking like they are, I don't want to say not going to be able to get a great player, but most of the big men that they could potentially target are probably going to be off the board. A lot of the good guards that would probably be ideal outside of maybe Walter Clayton are probably going to be off the board, and even he might go above them where they're projected to select right now. They have 28 and 32, and I don't want to say it's a dead spot, but it's a little too early for some of the swings or one skilled players you could grab, but it's a little too late for a lot of these high potential, high value role player type guys like Rasheer Fleming, Danny Wolf, and even maybe Walter Clayton. So they're in a really weird spot. So I think potential trade up options could be interesting to discuss. I know Jake Eisenberg at First to the Floor, who I do have a little beef with, not actual beef, funny beef. I'll save it. It put on Twitter that would you trade Sam Hauser for the 14th pick? So the good thing about trading Sam Hauser right now is you would save 10 mil next year, but you would be able to trade his minimum salary, right? Because it's still this league year. So he could fit into almost any team, and you could basically dump 10 mil next year. I don't want to say for free, but without a lot of financial
pill that comes
dancing.
with that?
I don't believe so, but not on Spot Track. I think it's because it's not a maximum contract or not a rookie scale, because he just signed after being a second round undrafted free agent, or not a second round, just undrafted free agent. But the question is, how we can go through Tankathon, look at the draft and see, where the line is for where the Celtics could trade up, what potential draft targets they might want in that range, et cetera, because they're in a weird spot right now.
They are. I'm sorry. I sneezed at the worst time. Finally happened to me. They're in a weird spot because, we've looked at a lot of these guys that are going to be projected in their range, and when you're doing a prospect preview and watching highlights as two guys that spent a lot of time with their noses deep into the NBA world and not really paying attention to the outside of it, it's pretty easy to be like, wow, what a player. Can talk yourself into him really, really easily. But realistically, it's not always the case. Like I know we did a Jordan Walsh preview a couple years ago, and like, or maybe we didn't do a preview, but we just reacted to him getting drafted, and we watched the highlights, and we were like, okay, I can kind of see the path, and it just didn't really work out. Or it hasn't worked out so far, I should say. It would be unfair to say he is completely dead as an NBA hopeful, but he really has been overshadowed by other guys they've drafted. This year, it feels pretty important that Boston hits on whoever they draft. I've said it for the last month. These picks are going to be so valuable because of the CBA. You're going to have guys on cheaper contracts, and if you draft right, those guys will be overperforming what they're getting paid, and it'll allow you to have a competitive team without overspending and being in the second apron necessarily. So if you have to trade up to enable yourself to hit, it might be worth it, especially like Rasheer Fleming. We did the video. We loved him. He's our top prospect of the bunch we have looked at. If you have to trade up, let's say if you had to trade Hauser for Rasheer Fleming, would you do it? That's the tough part.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, so look at this. So I'll pull up Tankathon. We can look at the draft order. So one is off the table. I'm just gonna go in order, right? Celtics aren't getting one. That's the wrong thing. That was
You're a little faint.
Workout thing. One is off the table. They're not getting Dallas pick. It's just not going to happen. Two would probably have to be a Jaylen Brown deal, right? We've heard a little bit of like, I don't know if it's real smoke, fake smoke, but there has been like, could the Spurs do this, right?
Some guy outright reported it last night.
Yeah, even
he was like, it's done.
Yeah, no, I'm disregarding that. I'm talking about like Chris Mannix or whatever other guys speculating. So theoretically they could get that, but then it would just be okay. They're probably taking Dylan Harper, right? Three's out the window. I mean, there's some murmurs that Philly could consider trading back to like 5 or 4 or something, and one of the other teams trades up and they dump Paul George's contract, etc. But that's out of the Celtics range. Charlotte, Utah, Washington don't really think they're in any rush or any interest in trading their top 6 pick right now. You get to 7 and maybe you like start thinking, okay, maybe do the Pelicans want to push their chips on the table? Do they want to get a Derek White or a Jaylen Brown in there? Do they really want to make a push in the West right now? Like, are they sick of losing versus how competitive is the West right now? Like, there's some things to consider. You get to 8. I don't think Brooklyn's trading that. 9, 10 is where it starts to get a little interesting, in my opinion, right? You can rope 7 in with New Orleans if you want. But 9, 10 is where I start to like tilt my head a little bit. Are the Raptors going to be interested in trading for a star? We've heard them say, oh, maybe they want KD, maybe they want Giannis. Is Jaylen Brown in that category of player? Like, do they value him as one of these star type guys? Is the fact that he is a lot younger than KD enough to propel him into that similar conversation of, we want a star, let's go see if Jaylen Brown, let's see if that's any interest. The same thing with the Rockets, right? They've been thrown around to those combos. Are they a Jaylen Brown team? Are they a Derek White team? Are they a team that like, okay, let's improve our guard room a little bit. Let's get some extra shooting. You can say the same about Atlanta and San Antonio at 13 and 14. So I think once you get into that 9 to 14 range is when you can start really talking about, can the Celtics trade up? And it's not until that 14 to 20 range where it would probably maybe not cost you a Jaylen or a Derek.
I mean, if you're trading Jaylen or Derek to move up to anything, Jaylen anything past 2 is ridiculous, and even 2 might be ridiculous.
There's some nuance involved too. You're not trading Jaylen straight up for that thing, right? It would be like 2 in a package with Vassell and maybe future firsts. Like, I'm not saying you trade them straight up for that person. I'm just saying if there were a package to be put together by one of these teams for Jaylen Brown or Derek White, like a RJ Barrett, Jakob Poeltl, number 9, and a future first, or a Devin Vassell, pick 2 and 2 or 3 future firsts for one of the, like, I'm just saying it would probably be included, and that's when you can start discussing, okay, the Celtics would get to make a selection there. I'm not saying they would trade one of those guys for an individual pick. I'm just saying, like, what realistic potential trade-up options, no matter if the percentage is a 2% chance, could we look at for the Celtics come draft night?
I don't really think either of those guys is getting dealt for like I mean, the Raptors package, I wouldn't do it. That one for Jaylen. I don't think I would do it for Derek. Like, I think Both of those guys need to be, if they're traded, need to be traded for something that you know for a fact is going to be a building block for when Tatum is back, right? Like draft picks, they sound nice, but there's no guarantee you could swing and miss and draft a bust. With those, Jalen and Derek, you know what you have. You know how they fit next to Jason. You could even learn more about them next year with the added opportunity, especially Jalen. I think Jalen's such an interesting character going into next year because of the extra opportunity and window he's going to have to be the guy and see if he's able to improve his game. Just thinking about his history of coming back every year and seemingly being better, the underwater workouts, whatever it is we've seen him do, this is as good a time as any for him to be chip on his shoulder, motivated, ready to roll. It doesn't mean that this stuff is impossible. Like the Spurs thing has been very, very heavily harped on. There must be some smoke somewhere, but I don't really know if it's going to happen. Derek, to me, almost seems just as untouchable, just because I think he outplays his contractual value, and that's tough to replace.
I get it, and I've been on team don't trade those guys. It all depends on the package, right? Because there comes a certain point where the package is too good to trade or to pass up, right? Like for as much as I think it's important to have Jalen and Derek when Tatum comes back, if you are offered 2 rotation pieces, a top 10 pick in the draft, and 2 or 3 future firsts, that's like you don't really get that chance to reshape your future often, right? Like that is a holy shit, like we can set ourselves up for competing when Tatum's back and beyond. And I'm not saying Brown and Derek can't do that, but there's also an element to this where the Celtics have operated historically from a point of we are going to get out at the best possible time. And I'm not saying you need to get out of Jalen or Derek White right now, but if the market is telling you that this is going to be the best possible time, it's like, sorry, like sometimes it's just hard, right? Like think about historically, like Marcus Smart, 2 years after a depoy campaign, everyone was pissed. They look like fucking geniuses now. And again, I'm not saying Derek White or Jalen Brown's going to fall off a cliff right now, but like,
so this
at
is
a certain
Patriots
point,
theory. It's like you want to trade them a year early rather than a year late.
like in a sense, yeah. Because I mean, shit. Look at what the Desmond Bane trade packet was. If that's the market, if we're getting 4 first-round picks, and obviously they took on some bad deals, but if the Celtics are going to get 3 or 4 first-round picks and positive value contracts, it gets hard. And so when you're talking about like trading up, like let's say the Raptors throw you RJ Barrett, Jakob Poeltl, the 9th pick, and 2 future first-round picks. That is 2 rotation pieces, a top 10 pick, and 2 future draft picks on a team I'm not sold as definitely being competitive for X amount of years, right? And if they throw you that for Jalen, maybe you consider it. I don't know how much you would save next year. Jakob Poeltl, 19.5, RJ Barrett, 27, so it'd be 30, 46. Like you'd save around $7 million in that trade next year. So you save $7 million, you get a top 10 draft pick, you get 2 future picks. Also, for context, I think SpotTrack's projections does include how much they would have to pay drafting at their current spots. That's something I learned. I'm pretty sure it does account for that. I'm not saying I would do it or wouldn't do it, but that's at least one where you don't hang up the phone right away. You get 2 rotation pieces. You solve your center position a little bit. Obviously, Scal would love having Jakob Poeltl. Maybe it's because I like RJ
Nobody
Barrett
would be
a lot.
happier than,
I know.
than Scal.
But like, I like RJ Barrett a lot. I think he'd had a great season. He's making 27 mil, then 29 mil. It's not a bad contract for the next 2 years. You get a top 10 pick. You get 2 future draft assets for a team. Then I'm not convinced that a Jaylen Brown, Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes team is going to be incredible for 5 years, right? Like it's probably gonna be a playoff team in the East, but I'm not saying they're going to be getting a 30th overall pick in those drafts. So I'm just saying I would be intrigued to see if that was on the table. And then in the case of the Spurs, right, like hardball them, right? Like if they want Jalen and you say, okay, give me 2 and Stephon Castle and 2 future first round picks. And if they're like, all right, maybe, you're like, wait a second, you're actually like, there's just a line you have to ride with that. And I mean, trading up, like, again, like pick 9, you're talking about you could get a Cedric Coward or a Colin Murray Boyles, who I know you like, or a Noah Senge, or like one of these guys, who Con Knipple, if he falls in the draft, right? Like there's phenomenal draft players or prospects at these places. Neek Clifford, who's another elite guy. Like there's so many options that could come about if that does happen, and trading up to those specific spots. If Derek White or Jaylen Brown were on the table, like it gets to a point where, like you said, it's the Patriots theory of shit, man, are we just trading a year early but getting a value that we'll never be able to see again for this player?
I just out of curiosity pulled up the 2026 free agency class. Subject to change, teams will do extensions. Not all of these guys will make it, but the reason why I was curious about this was because, well, if you're going to trade for expiring contracts, you at least want to sell yourself on the
What expiring
potential of having
contracts?
Pirtle.
He is a player option.
Okay,
yes.
as a player option, but like even like thinking about like other
I
deals.
also don't
that
think
could
they have cap space. But yes.
Regardless, if they do another deal where they've shed, like, okay, hypothetically, if you're going to trade Derek, you're going to trade Jalen, you're kind of blowing it up, and you're going to probably clear as much cap that isn't Tatum as you can, and then bring in young players. You may end up having cap space. Like, if that is the route you wanted to go.
Sure.
I don't think they should. I think they have a lot of good pieces on the team, and I think they can kind of keep themselves afloat while maybe taking a gap year. But, like, you can't even really get that excited about free agency anymore. Dame is the top guy because of the money. They sort by how much money they make. It's Dame, LeBron, Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, Trae Young, Luka, Zach LaVine, Van Vliet, Kyrie, James Harden, DeAndre Ayton, De'Aaron Fox, McCollum, Middleton, Porzingis, Randall, Hartenstein, Wiggins, Jaren Jackson, Tobias Harris, Draymond, and it gets worse.
Yeah. No, free agency I don't care about free agency at all. Free agency is irrelevant in my mind. The Celtics wouldn't have cap space regardless. But, like, let's say one of those deals does come on the table. Like, just at that point, restructure KP's contract, keep Drew, and, like, go. Like, if you end up trading one of those guys and you can shed maybe you trade Drew just like to do it, but like let's say let's say you get God offers for Derek and Jalen, right? And you get a total of 10 first round picks for both of those guys and an RJ Barrett and a Pirtle and a Vassell, right? Let's say the God offer of all God offers comes up for both those guys and the Spurs really want Derek and the Raptors really want Jalen Brown. This isn't going to happen, but let's say that does happen. You go into the summer with those 10 first-round picks with Devin Vassell, RJ Barrett, Jakob Poeltl, Dylan Harper, Cedric Coward. Like, you have a rotation still, and you have 10 first-round picks to flip those guys for other guys who may become available. Again, I don't think that's realistic. I don't think any of that's going to happen. I'm just saying, if we're looking at avenues to trade up, to wrap this all the way back around to the draft to what we were originally talking about, like, there could be packages that could include top X picks in this draft. And before we continue, I do need to tell people about PrizePicks, the best place to get real money sports action this basketball, baseball season, whatever season you are looking to have some fun in. Just pick 2 or more player props for a chance to win up to 2,000x your cash. Sam and I do the PrizePicks every single game when the Celtics season does come around. We just pick more or less on points, player rebounds, player assists, or sometimes we pick them more on player turnovers if they are on the opposing team. Baseball season is here as well. I'm big into the Red Sox right now. They just lost, but they were on a good winning streak before that. So you can pick more or less on RBIs, home runs, stuff like that too. And you can combine player props from different sports. Obviously, the finals are still going on, so you can combine players from the Pacers or the Thunder with your favorite teams and players from other sports into one PrizePicks lineup. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. Back to the draft. We can keep talking about trade-up scenarios because I think we got a little sidetracked with potential blockbusters, but yeah.
The only thing I want to round out that last part though. If you are, and it ties back to this, if you are going to offload like Derek and Jalen for draft hauls, which as a team guy, as a supporter of like the Celtics, I think like everybody would be fine with that. Like I would be fine with that. You'd be fine with that. But if you think about it from the perspective of Jason Tatum, who is the face of your franchise, who is the guy, right? He's like, I just snapped my Achilles and now you traded all my teammates away. What the hell? I think the free agency part of it would be part of the sell to Tatum is like, look, we can bring in supporting cast members to help you when you come back. It doesn't mean the biggest free agents. Like Aaron Gordon's in that class. Like there could be role players that you kind of try and fill out the edges of the roster with to ease the path of not only Tatum, but the potential rookies, the draftees developing. And I think that's where it becomes important.
Sure. I just don't think the Celtics have any pathway to having money in free agency. Like there's so few pathways
for them to actually having money. The biggest contract on your roster and then the third biggest, or maybe not third biggest, but like in the top 5, 2 of your top 5 contracts.
Yeah, but they are. I know, but they are currently 20 million over the second apron. Like they are not 20 million over like having cap space. Like they are like 60 million above having maybe cap space. And then you have to consider all the stuff they're going to get back in the deals.
Yeah, there's going to be return stuff. But once those big contracts become broken into smaller contracts, it becomes easier. We don't have to dissect
I suppose. Anyways, let's get back to the draft. So what I was focusing on originally. Where like what if you look at this draft, right? And we've looked at certain prospects and we've discussed like in order to get a Rasheer Fleming, or if you want to aim higher, like an Asa Newell or a Cedric Coward, like what are you willing to give up and how high are you looking to get? Because I think like what we said at the start, I think the Celtics are just in a really weird range to where it's almost, I don't want to say necessary to trade up, but like it would do them a lot of good to trade up in this draft if possible.
Okay, last thing about the Spurs. If the only way you should do this Spurs trade, I might have said this to you. I don't know if I said it on playback or on the show. The only way you do a Spurs Jalen trade is you do it like second overall pick Jalen trade. You have to do it like ASAP. And then you get Cooper Flag, half serious, half not serious, to be like, I'm not going to play for Dallas. That is the only possible way that would be like, okay, good trade. Like, I would be completely fine with it. And I think that would be, well, I don't think the trade's going to happen, but I think if you did it, it could happen.
No, I don't.
Why do you think against that?
I just think like, I just don't think that's what would happen. I don't think Cooper Flag's going to be like, I'm not like, fuck you. Now that they did this, I'm doing like, I don't think that's going to happen.
We'll probably never know. So it doesn't matter.
Okay.
More serious is trade up. The Sam Hauser Jake type trade is the furthest I think I would look to trade up immediately. Right? I think getting yourself into the latest lottery or like early out of the lottery slots is intriguing depending on who it is that you're looking to target and who is available at the time. This should be a mid-draft type of deal. It should not be a pre-draft deal because you don't want to get bit in the ass. Like, oh man, I really wanted to trade Hauser for Colin Murray Boyles, but he's not there. Like, it would have to be during the actual thing. With that being said, I actually don't even think you would have to move up that far to get Rasheer Fleming. Like, aren't we starting to hear like rumblings in like various reports and everything that he might be available in the 20s? Like, I think if he's available in the 20s, you might get away with not giving up a Hauser.
So then what do you think it would be, like 28 and 30? Like, I just like, because then you run into the issue of like, how long are you willing to wait? And then if you don't end up trading up, then you're going to get nobody you really like because you're stuck at 28, right? Like, I don't know how far 28 and 32 can get you. Like, could you get up to 25 and get one of those, or to 26, excuse me, and get one of those Brooklyn picks since they have two, but then you're only trading up, what, 2 spots? Like,
yeah, I don't think that like is the home run that gets you Fleming. It's more of like that early 20s. Maybe you combine your 2 picks. They don't have a lot of second round picks next year and in the future to just dangle over teams, so it can be more difficult. Maybe Hauser's still in the deal. Maybe that's part of your salary dumping ploy where whatever rookie you have to pay is making less money, and that's just an easy, not plug and play, because Hauser's not an easy replacement.
Like,
But
would you do
ahead.
like Hauser in 28 to get up to like 20? I mean, you don't love giving Hauser to Miami, but you get 20, and if Fleming's there, you get Fleming. You shed the salary that you would have paid the 28 and Hauser, and then you pay whoever you get at 20, whether it's Fleming or Danny Wolf or Thomas Sorber, and you go from there. Like, would they be interested? Would the Grizzlies, if they still want to compete, take 28 Hauser and 32 for 16? Could you get up to Minnesota at 17, or hell, could you get 14? Are there options that you could include the picks and Hauser to save money in both ways and also trade up? And then from there, who, like, is it Fleming? Is it Cedric Coward? Do you aim higher? Like, all of these questions come into play. And I think a lot of it will just be, how does it play out on draft night? Who goes where?
Yeah, I think I would do, if Fleming is there, I probably would go up to 20. if you can guarantee you keep your second round pick, maybe bring in a support big man with that pick and you feel good about it. That way, if you end up losing one of or multiple of Kristaps, Horford, Cornette this summer, you have somebody you at least like are excited to give minutes to, and you feel like it might be going towards at least like feel for the game type of development. Then you do it. I really like Fleming. I just think he's the perfect kind of guy to step in and be a role player, and when Tatum is healthy, be a supporting cast guy on a winning team with the way he was asked to play at St. Joe's. But this just gets really tough with not knowing who would be there. I don't know how many other guys I would be like, oh my God, they have to trade up to 20 to get him.
Yeah. My biggest like question / intrigue is if one of these like good role player, also high upside guys, let's say like just looking quickly, let's say like Cedric Howard, Jace Richardson, or Kasparis Jakubonis or Carter Bryant falls to like 12, 13, right? 14, right? Like you look at, or 10 even, like you look at the Rockets, you look at, like some of these guys, like where's the line? Or let's say even deeper. Let's say they fall to that range where it's like the Grizzlies, the Timberwolves, right? Like what are you willing? Like what is that going to be? Like I think that interests me more than Rasheer Fleming. I like Rasheer Fleming, but I don't know how much further up than like the 20, like you mentioned, I would trade up for Rasheer Fleming. Like if I'm trading up that far, I want a guy where I can say, okay, maybe he can be a little more than just a high level role player. And I like Fleming a lot. I really like Fleming. But if you can get a Carter Bryant, a Nick Clifford, Jakubonis, a Cedric Howard, like Jace Richardson, one of these guys who has like a potential to be an all-around package type of guy, how much and when, like that's going to be the key.
There's also the part of this where drafting somebody like Rasheer Fleming is only valuable if you do it like late enough. Like you can't talk yourself into this isn't what you're saying, but like say you traded up to like 10 to draft Rasheer Fleming. You're not like, man, we've really hit on that one. It's more of like, holy shit, we got this guy that can help us down the line with 22 or, it would be cool if he fell to 28, but I don't think it'll happen. The beauty of having the late picks is that you can be like, man, like, what if the guy just turns into Luke Cornette, like with Kalkbrenner? It's like, I would love that. That would be a great pickup, just getting the bare minimum. Once you start trading up, there becomes expectations with who you draft too. I almost feel like that's like a more pressure on the front office thing. Not to say they shouldn't do it if they feel the right players there, but they have to be certain.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't know what the draft landscape is.
You're very faint.
Sorry. It just might just have to be I start faint and it feeds in. That's just the nature of this microphone.
I cannot hear you.
You cannot hear me at all.
I can hear you a little bit now, but when you were just talking, I could not hear you.
Are you sure it's not the music? Because I've listened back to some of my like stuff and recordings, and I don't think it's horrendous.
No, it's not the music.
All right. I'll keep going.
I can hear you now.
Okay. I think it's just gonna have to be I start faint and it comes in. Like that's just what I have to do.
And I am muting.
Okay. That's fine. We just all right. Emails. Let's check in with what you guys have had to say. A reminder, as always, you guys can email us at hbtcpod@gmail.com. That's hbtcpod@gmail.com. We have a few today. First one we got is from RJ, who says, "Dish that raw. Morning, folks. A simple question for the HBTC Draft Central. Who do you think the best passers that will be available at 28 are? Any position. Be well, RJ, who loves good passing." Good question. I don't really know. Let me take a look at this Yahoo Sports draft to get some general feel of what could be there. Nolan Traore
was a decent passer from what I looked at with him.
Ben Saraf is a phenomenal passer. I hate Ben Saraf. I really don't like Ben Saraf. He is the classic EuroLeague guy who can really pass but can't really do anything else.
Good footwork. Good finisher.
Sure. He is a worse Josh Giddey, and I don't want that on the Celtics right now.
Is he a better human?
Probably. I don't love it. I think Nolan Traore, who we need to look at, is a pretty good passer. I think if you look at Hugo Gonzalez is another guy who's a pretty good passer. Walter Clayton maybe could be available. Noah Penda, who we need to take a closer look at, could be available. He's actually really interesting. He's not the great shooter, but he is like huge body, really good defender, really good playmaker, really good role player type guy. I want to take a look at him. And then maybe like a Danny Wolf. Hopefully I just spit enough names at you. Maybe like an Alex Tui. I'm just spitting stuff out.
I'm trying to think. Alex Tui. Alex Tui's got a good feel for it, actually. He's more of like a transition guy. He's somebody you could talk yourself into maybe being a role player in the NBA, but he's got a lot of work to do on his shot, even though the form looks good. He's not really that consistent.
Yeah. Okay. Hopefully that answers your question, Arthur. We just threw a bunch of names at you. Next, we've got Michael Bevis, who says, Desmond Bain, hey guys, how about them C's? Let's consider the Magic made the exact offer for Derek White. To you, what would the exact haul have to be to have been worth it? And if Brad actually had that offer in hand, should he have said yes? So the Desmond Bain trade for Derek White. So Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Cole Anthony. I'm going to ignore financials because that wouldn't have been financially legal. But Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Cole Anthony, the 2026 Suns pick, 2028 and 2030 Magic picks, and a 2029 swap. I don't know. I would be very 50-50 on if I would say yes to that trade. I would probably lean no, just because I don't like the KCP contracts, and I don't think you end up saving that much. I think maybe you'd obviously have to find a way to dump one of those guys. I think I would lean no, but the picks would make it very tempting, especially that Suns pick for next year with AJ Devontae in the draft.
The Suns pick would be cool. The KCP thing would make this very counterproductive. And I know you said you would have to find somewhere to ship him to. The problem with that is you would probably have to give something else up to ship him away and get rid of that contract. That's where it becomes sticky for the Celtics. Like, Memphis has the luxury of not actually being a second apron team that has to cut a bunch of costs. They can afford to do that. The Celtics, their main goal right now, which we've said a billion times, is to shed salary. And what would be the net shed if it was Derek instead of Bain? Would it be like nothing? It would be like pretty much 1-for-1 with the combined Cole Anthony and KCP contracts.
I need to. I don't know off the top of my head. Let me look.
I will say having the Suns pick would make next season a lot of fun. We could hate watch the Suns all the time. Having the future Magic picks would be interesting because while it feels like Orlando is going to be very good from 28 to 30, there's no guarantee of that. Like, it doesn't feel like it's a foregone conclusion that they're this nasty team. Like, I'm not skeptical, but I'm not quite convinced that it's going to come together fully for them. Like, they could have came and went by that time. But we have to wait and see. Regardless, I don't think that would be enough to make me feel good about Derek White, especially when you're getting two players that aren't really exciting to have come back to your team.
Yeah, if anything, they're negative assets. I'm still trying to find the exact salary they're going to make next year because Basketball Reference has it a little bit messed up right now, and it's not showing me the salary. The Celtics would shed like $1 million. Like, it's not. It would.
No, absolutely not. Then
yeah, it would be 1-to-1 salary wise. Yeah. Thank you, Michael. Last email we got is from Michael Hilly. Interesting trade. Hey guys, I have an interesting trade idea here. One that gets rid of KP and Drew and adds a little some value to the team. Let me know what you think. This would have to happen after July 2nd for it to work. Excuse me. Looks like DeJounte Murray is unhappy in New Orleans, and they might be trying to clear some cap space for the upcoming free agency season of 2026. They get a 2027 first from the Celtics, a tradable deadline veteran in Derek Jones Jr., and a $30 million expiring deal in Kristaps. Nets get a $16 million salary dump and a pick swap in return. Clippers get Drew for the typical package of Bogey, GJJ, and a first. Celtics clear up 32.3 in cap, getting under the apron, giving them room to re-sign Luke and Cornette. They also keep their picks from this year and next year. They get DeJounte Murray, who has 2 more years after the 25-26, where he, like Tatum, will be out for the majority of the season. An established offensive option, certified Celtics cooker who above average in defense. I like it obviously because the Celtics come out looking good. Really depends on how the Pelicans are on the Pelicans and how/if they want to get rid of salary. I also don't like the hypothetical dynamic of Pritchard moving back to the bench. The Pelicans can probably get a better deal for him too. Regardless, I think it's intriguing. Let me know what you think. Let me put this in a different tab. Celtics get DeJounte, Nets get Bogey and a first. Pelicans get the Celtics first next year, Kristaps, Derek Jones, and a 2029 first from, I assume, the Clippers.
The tab didn't switch for me yet.
Oh, sorry. I don't think I don't know. I get the salary. DeJounte's fine. I don't want to give up picks in a trade. So I think I'm pro finding other deals where the Celtics don't have to give up any draft capital.
So this is cool because you shed a lot of salary. The problem is, Jack nails it on the head. You have to give up 2 picks, which is not what you want. You're also trading for a guy that is also coming off an Achilles tear. So, like, maybe not the best trade target at the moment. With that being said, it also might enable you to not give up those picks. Like, maybe that's part of the bargaining, is like, this guy's coming off an Achilles tear, doesn't seem happy with your team. Maybe you can dangle that and hold it over New Orleans' heads for leverage. I don't know. I don't really know what we're going to see from DeJounte. He's never really been on like I hate to like do this, but he's never really been on like a playoff winning type team. Does he really translate to winning? Do we know yet? I don't know. He should. He does good things. He's got good length. He's a little bit small. He's not really a switchable defender, which would hurt you, I think, in the long run. I think this is a little steep for the Celtics, though.
I'm not the biggest DeJounte Murray fan. I think he's the worst Derek White. He's fine. I just don't love giving up a pick. I think you could find other value to figure out dumping these contracts. All right, moving on. NBA Finals update, or I guess just injury update from the Finals. Tyrese Haliburton's hurt. He injured himself in Game 5. Reporting from Shams and otherwise is that he could miss Game 6. It sounds like he is dealing with I want to make sure I get it right. He is dealing with. Why can't I see it? Just can someone show me in like the headline so I don't have to click?
It's a calf strain.
Strained right calf. Thank you. Strained right calf. They don't know. So we might miss Game 6. Sucks. No fun. And yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure I saw Carlisle said that they're planning on playing without him in Game 6. I don't know. Might have been like a aggregation account that didn't quite have the full story, but I think I saw it somewhere. The calf strain is no joke. We know all about the calf strain. Porzingis had the calf strain last year. It took him 3 playoff series to come back. Giannis had a calf strain last year. They held him out in the first round. It took him way longer than I think people thought, and he suffered that calf strain, I think, in late March against the Celtics, and it held him out for the entire first round of the playoffs last year. Kevin Durant had a calf strain in the NBA Finals in 2019. It got worse. It turned into an Achilles tear. Those things are connected. When the calf is overworked, it puts more pressure on the Achilles. It's really nothing to play with. The problem is, if you're Tyrese Haliburton, you're playing in the NBA Finals, you're telling, granted, like, as somebody who doesn't even like to, like, not go for a run on days where I'm, like, in soreness, like, I understand as, like, a human. Never mind if I was in the NBA Finals where you want to go and do the thing that you want to do, and you're like, man, I'll just play through it, like, it's not that bad. It would be way worse to tear your Achilles. That would be terrible. But you never know. You never know if you get to play in the finals ever again. So it's a tough choice. I would understand if he tried to play through it. It would look really bad if he did hurt himself and made it way worse. But, like, I don't think I would immediately blame him if I saw that he was active for Game 6. It is a difficult place for Haliburton to be. And he can't win, because if he doesn't play, people are going to be like, soft, it's the finals, get out there. It could be the last game until October. What do you care? This is the real risk of, like, missing a year of basketball, though. That's where it is dangerous.
And, like, I don't know what I would do if I was Haliburton. I think I would do everything in my power to try to play. Like, I think I would desperately try to just get on the court and figure it out. But, like, it truly depends on how he feels. If he is feeling like this shit is going to snap at any given time, like, you can't. And that sucks. And maybe it's I'm not going to play in Game 6. I'm sorry. And then if they get to Game 7, you're like, fuck, whatever. I'll figure it out. But it's just hard. Also, dude, I hate Stephen A. Smith. What a fucking loser. Did you hear him on the broadcast?
Yeah, he was like, I'm glad.
What are we doing? I'm glad he's hurt because it's good. Because if he wasn't, it'd be a real problem. He's the worst. He's the worst thing that's happened to sports media in a long time, and it's only gotten worse. The fucking solitaire, the going on all these political shows, and he's an ass. He's the worst. Fuck Stephen A. Smith. I think he's a loser, and I don't think he should be talking about basketball when he clearly doesn't give a shit. Kevin Durant update. We've heard new things about where he could potentially go from Shams and from Windy and from Dwayne Rankin, who is Suns reporter for the Arizona Republic. Shams says Rocket and Heat are most involved. Spurs have pulled back a bit. I've seen elsewhere that KD wants to go to the Spurs. Like, that's his top choice. I think that was the Athletic, maybe. I forget. Dwayne Rankin said
Could be.
Suns may be placing too high a value on KD and might have to reduce their asking price in negotiating. And then Windy said, I'll tell you one thing. If you're Houston, who's shown some interest but hasn't been willing to put together an offer that seems to compel Phoenix, I'm not increasing my offer at all. This is what happened with Toronto when they got Kawhi. They were just the last team standing. If I'm Houston or Miami, I'm like, okay, I'll sit here and wait with the offer I'm holding. So it sounds like the KD stuff could drag on, but at the same time, we've heard that it's going to happen soon. So who fucking knows at this point?
Yeah, it's. I only put it in because I thought the Windy part of this was interesting, so I put in the rest of the context where it would be a little bit funny if the teams just stopped bidding and they're like, well, this is just what we're going to give you. And it kind of makes sense with the context of Durant being on an expiring, being that you're going to trade for him and probably have to give him an extension for him to be happy about going to play for your team. And him also being, 37 now? Like, he's not young. He's still very effective. And age doesn't necessarily matter with KD, but there are small things that are affected. He's not as athletic, not as capable of a defender as he once was, but he's still a money man on offense. He's shooting unbelievably efficient. I went back and looked at the last time he played the Celtics. He was like, I just remember the game in Phoenix. He was 33 points, missed like 5 shots, only missed 1 3. Like, he was a sniper. He's awesome to watch play offense, and he can absolutely elevate your team. But the question really goes, how much do you want to give up in terms of future assets to bring him in for what could be a rental? You don't know if he's going to get upset. Not to say he's always looking to leave places, because he was in OKC for a long time. The Warriors thing was weird. Brooklyn, he only wanted to leave when, he signs his extension, then they pull out of the Kyrie extension. He kind of signed up to play with him, and Harden gets traded. Like, a lot of things started to change in Brooklyn for the worse when he was like, I actually might want to not play here anymore. I like KD. I wrote about it yesterday about how many times he was almost on the Celtics. He's going to help somebody, but I'm not convinced that if I'm any of these teams, I'm chomping at the bit to raise my bid.
No. I mean, if you're the Rockets, right, he doesn't fit in with what you really want to do, or the timeline at least. Like, as great as he is, he's 37, right? He's got maybe 3 more years left. Maybe he's 36. He's going to be 37 all next season. I get it for the Spurs, because if you can put together a package where you don't have to gut your future draft capital a lot, like, I'll do it. Like, if you want 14, Devin Vassell, Harrison Barnes, and like 2 future picks that won't hurt us too bad, like, sure, let's do it. Let's run it with KD for a year. Let's try to compete for a couple seasons with him and Dylan Harper and Wemby and Fox, and that's a terrifying team. And if you're the Heat, it just depends on what you can put together that wouldn't ruin your future, right? Like, if it's 2 future picks, Wiggins, Galloway, Jaime Jaquez, and the Suns are like, shit, okay, maybe. I don't hate it because you're in the Eastern Conference if you're KD, and if you're the Suns, you get a couple young pieces, you get a decent rotation player, and you go. But he's phenomenal. He's one of the best players in the world. He's just too old to gut a roster for at this point in his career, unfortunately. And that's just kind of like what it is.
Correct. And, with the Houston situation, I don't know if I care as much about the timelines as long as you can keep players that you feel good about in the future. Like, if you can have Durant there as they develop, and then it's almost like the Ninja Turtles meme where they're walking like next to the Grandmaster's children, and then they're like walking him as he's an old man. Like, if it's that kind of thing, like, sure, and it could be. But you, again, like you said, don't want to gut the roster. You still have to have players that you can believe in years to come. And I think if you're Phoenix, you're looking to get those players back in the deal. So that might be where we're looking at a stalemate over the last week or so. Plus, Minnesota's also kind of involved with this, where they would like Durant, but he keeps saying he doesn't want to play for them, so they're not even making offers.
Yeah. If I'm Minnesota, I get it, but how do you get there, right? Like, are you trading Jaden McDaniels or like fucking Rudy or I don't want Randall on the Suns. So like,
You
there's no
don't?
real pathway, and they don't have their picks. Like, what are they trading? Like the Timberwolves don't have a pathway to getting Kevin Durant. So I think that's pretty useless, all in all. Ace Bailey drama before the draft, falling down draft boards, and by falling I mean from like a solidified top 30 pick to maybe could go 4, 5, 6. Jonathan Givney of ESPN said Bailey's camp has informed interested teams that they believe he's a top 3 player in the draft, but also seeks a clear pathway to stardom, perhaps feeling comfortable that a team will trade up to get him in the 3 or the 4 should he drop. Doesn't care about being a top 3 pick, but thinks he's top 3 talent, basically. I don't know if this is him saying like Philly's cool, but I'm gonna have to be like a 5th option. No thanks. Like, is this just him saying like fuck that? I don't want to go to Philly or San Antonio because I want to be the star? And the question is
Pretty
them
much.
like I saw something on Twitter being like teams are now afraid to take Ace Bailey, but also afraid to pass on him. They're afraid to take him because if they take him and then he's not that, then they look silly. But they afraid to pass on him because if he is that, then they're gonna look even worse. So like it's
Welcome
this
to the
weird thing
draft.
now. Yeah, it's this weird thing now where he's like very, very clearly talented, but obviously there's the efficiency problems, there's the whatever other potential issues. But I mean, he's the clear build for a 2-way star forward in the NBA at his height and with his shot creation ability. What team is going to trade up? What's going to get there? Is it Brooklyn? Is it Charlotte? Is it, whatever else, Washington, where they'll give him that chance? And what team is going to be willing to do that? Like, do the Jazz trade up from, 5 to 3, take on the Paul George contract so they can get Ace Bailey? Maybe, but it's just a matter of what they're willing to do to get there.
Paul George contract to move up 2 picks would be wild.
Yeah, but I mean, if you think Ace Bailey's the guy, then you do it.
Yeah, because it won't really matter. Man, all I can think of with this stuff, and he wasn't public about it, he wasn't paying the ass about it, but like, we've all heard the stories about Tatum not necessarily wanting to be drafted by the Celtics because he knew he wasn't going to come in and have a lot of wiggle room to be the guy. He was going to have to kind of conform and be a role player and be a supporting cast guy for Isaiah at the time, and then eventually Kyrie by the time the season started. And it all worked out fine. I think there is value to being a part of a team where you can be playing with a purpose right from the beginning. If you join Philly, you have that. Like, Philly going into next season probably feels like they have a good chance to compete in the Eastern Conference.
Well,
Whether you believe that or not is a different story.
yes and no, right? Like in Tatum's case, it worked out, but Tatum also got the benefit of playing as the number 2, number 1 option for most of the season because of the injuries.
Yes.
Ace Bailey's not going to have that in Philly, so it'll have a purpose.
You don't think anybody's going to get injured in Philly?
Well, even if they do, Tyrese Maxey, Jared McCain, like I'm not saying somebody's not going to get injured, but I'm also saying they're not going to definitely get injured, right? Like Tatum's thing was such a freak, unique circumstance to where he got to be that guy and have that experience, right? Like, is it ideal to play in a situation where you can be the number 1 option and compete for a championship? Yes. That is not like the norm.
I mean,
that
Jalen
is like
did it too, just
an
to
extremely
take it back a year further.
Yeah, but he had. But then what happened the other years? He was like a secondary rotation piece coming off the bench for his first 2 seasons and had to wait to get that developmental chance, right? Like, and if you think you can be a star, like I understand wanting to like try to navigate it to a point where you can have those opportunities right away and grow and be a star and have the chance to have the ball in your hands. Because if you're an Ace Bailey, right, like that's your thing. Like that is what makes you a top 3 pick in this draft is the ability to have the ball in your hands and score and sort of run things. And if you don't have that opportunity, then you're not going to be able to show out. And it's all this stuff. And so I get it. And I get why he wouldn't necessarily want to go to Philly or a spot where there's going to be a bunch of guys in front of him. And a spot where his development is not the top priority, right? Like that wouldn't be the top priority in Philly. It would be, let's compete with Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, and Ace Bailey will be a nice young piece to extend our future timeline. But like, that's not what the focus should be on. If you go to Brooklyn, if you go to Charlotte, if you go to Washington, you go to Utah, Ace Bailey is the priority. And I get wanting to be in a situation where that would be the case. So we'll see what happens, but I understand.
You definitely want room for error. I mean, that's definitely a positive thing. You don't want to make a mistake and then go sit on the bench for the rest of the night and have to sit and think about it. It's not going to make you a better player if you're not the right type of person. That is for sure.
Indeed. Pacers and Pelicans made a trade. A mid-finals trade. They completed. The Pacers traded the 23rd pick in this year's draft and the rights to Mojave King to the Pelicans for their own 2026 first back, which the Pelicans acquired. Pacers traded the 2026 first to the Raptors in the Siakam deal, and then the Pelicans got it in the Ingram deal, and now it's back to the Pacers for the pick 23. Sure, I guess the Pacers just wanted to extend some flexibility and have a future pick to trade rather than trading pick 23. Makes sense. Pelicans going to add another rookie scale guy or add ammo to trade up if they see fit. Pretty nothing deal. It clears up a little bit of money from the Pacer or from the Pacers books next season, not for like free agency purposes, but just to give them a little more flexibility under the first apron. And then you just got to figure it out from there.
So this happened 21 hours ago. So it happened after Game 5. What if the Pacers are a little nervous about Haliburton playing, maybe missing the season next year? It would be nice to have their own pick kind of thing. I mean, I don't think it's the driving force behind this trade, but I'm sure it's like a subliminal thought that they all have like in the back of their heads in the front office. Like, if he decides to play and it doesn't go well, this is a nice safety net to have. It also, as you said, more importantly, allows them to be flexible with the roster. They are not a luxury tax team right now. Neither team in the finals is, but they have to sign Miles Turner. If they want to keep him this summer, they're going to have to pay him a little bit of money. They're going to have to pay draft picks. Like, they're not going to be able to be under the luxury tax forever. As I've said about the Celtics, having draft picks makes it so much easier to build a sustainable roster because those guys make no money as soon as you draft them. So that's probably another thing that they would like to have.
Yes, indeed. Okay, rat list. What do you have?
Rat list is Biscoff cookies. So Biscoff, if you fly Delta, every time you fly Delta, you can have the Biscoff cookies. They give them to you. Biscoff has now innovated their cookies. I tweeted out a picture of it today just for our friend Danny because he is a Biscoff connoisseur, loves the Biscoff cookies. They have essentially taken the golden Oreo and made it their own with 2 Biscoffs and then the frosting in the middle, and they're like crack. I had 2 of them today before the show, just back to back. I could sit and eat them all day. They're not very big, and it is an incredible product. Well done, Biscoff, but not good to have in the house when you can have a bunch of them.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds good. I think I'd be a fan. Rat list this microphone. I need a new one. All of my microphones are breaking. It's pissing me off. I can't. I need to figure out to get a new one, but I've been getting very frustrated with this stupid fucking thing all day, and
it's tough because it's like when you have like a bad phone charger and you have to have your phone like perfectly placed for it to charge.
Yeah, except if a phone charger was $200.
Yes, exactly. Like for you, like especially like a handheld mic, it's very difficult to like not move. So when sometimes like you'll put it down or move and then it takes it off like whatever was the perfect setting of the wire and it screws you over. But soon enough. I mean, it hasn't been terrible. There are just times where I got to tell you when it's cut out. That's all. Most of the time it works fine.
I think the cord just gets loose. I just got to carefully watch it. Is what it is.
Rat list is me. Yesterday, Tuesday, as you're hearing this, it is now Thursday. I was perusing Twitter during the day, and I saw Nick NBA, who does a lot of Celtics and NBA content, was doing a live stream of like a mock Celtics offseason. So I was like, oh, this sounds really cool. Like, I'm going to watch it. And I'm watching it, enjoying myself. And I am a member of the First to the Floor Discord. And in the First to the Floor Discord, there is a section for content recommendations. And so I was like, you know what? This is really awesome. I'm going to put it in here because I want more. There were not enough people in this stream. I was like, this is better content than people are noticing. So they need to know about it. I put it in there and I'm like, hey, everybody, this is really good. Tune in if you're not doing anything. Little did I know that when I put that in the Discord, First Floor was live. So I was like, hey, everybody, don't watch Jake and Spoonie. Come over here and watch this other live stream. I didn't know they were live. I probably would have hopped in there too, man. I like I've been trying to watch more, whether it's like Red Sox stuff or like Celtic stuff, just more local and smaller content to just get like a better feel for like what people are doing, what they're talking about, what's interesting, just the way things work, what makes a good show, and learn more about what we're doing. I enjoyed the Nick stream. Shout out to him. After you're done with this, it's probably up on his channel, Nick NBA, for a replay. So go ahead and watch it. But yeah, I definitely had a brain fart and was like, hey, everyone, leave the First the Floor stream and watch this. Bad look.
Did people call you out? Were they like,
oh, yeah.
"Look at this
Someone
idiot"?
immediately was like, the nerve to post this while they're live. And I was like, oh, no. I'm sorry.
Idiot.
Yeah, that's foolish.
Speaking of First the Floor, rat list. So I'm gonna go grab this. Hopefully my mic doesn't disconnect.
I heard you for a minute. If you're still talking, I do not hear.
Just because I'm far away.
Oh, there you are.
So I ordered this. I have this now.
Nice.
First the Floor sweatshirt. I ordered this on November 17th.
Yeah.
Got to my house yesterday.
I feel like that's how a lot of... Do they
ridiculous.
use... I won't drop the store, but do they use what we use?
Yes.
So we've heard that our stuff takes a while, too.
Yeah. So that's a problem, especially because it told me the estimated delivery date was December 2nd. Big problem.
Did you forget that you ordered it?
Yes. I did. Because I can't wear it now because it's a crew neck. And it's 80 degrees outside. I know it's Australia and shipping, but that's
I don't necessarily know if it is Australia though. Like I think
it's a problem.
Whatever company it is not based there. I don't think that matters. What I will say is, as annoying as it is that it came on June 17th, it's better that it came on June 17th rather than September 17th because you would not have been living there anymore.
True. At least it got here while I was still currently living in the place that I'm living. That's still not
bare minimum.
Okay. Still ridiculous.
I want to shout out RJ. RJ has made he came on to the playback on Monday for Game 5. He has made Hate Watch 2025 hats that I'll be receiving one soon enough, and I'll be adding it to the collection. So shout out to him. I think Jake's gonna get one too. The Hate Watch was a fantastic experience.
Ridiculous. I don't have anything else. That's all I got. That's all I have today.
That's it for me. I don't really have anything to complain about too much.
All right. In that case, appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and I'll let Tim take it out.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening and watching. Make sure you leave a like, comment, tell us how you feel about the draft and whether or not the Celtics should trade up for anybody and what they should give up and so on. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell because we are here every single day. Full pods drop Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Game recaps are up to one after each game during the season. And other videos like our prospect previews are up in between. And again, hit that bell because as Jack is so consistently afraid of, there could be breaking news. And if there is, we will be here. We'll be ready for it. We'll be pumping out the content and telling you what we think. So be on the lookout. You can find us on Spotify and Apple as well. All pods and recaps are up there for you. So if you just want those, go ahead and follow. They will go right to your feed. Leave a 5-star review. We'd appreciate that very, very much. You can email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com. We're reading them every single time we do the show. Big shout out to RJ, Michael, and Michael. 2 Michaels sending the emails today. Shout out to you. The emails have been great. hbtcpod@gmail.com. Our socials are at How About Them C's. For Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Facebook's the name of the podcast. All streams are there. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter's at JacksmanNBA. Mine's at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.
Tic-tac-toe. Come on.